culture trotters, and we got to do something super amazing. We got to visit one of the 7 wonders of the world, Chichen Itza.
And now we're going to tell you not only what it was like and what we saw there, but the best ways of getting there and some of the ins and outs of how the Yucatan works and how you can make a better visit for yourself if you decide to go.
Welcome to Chichen Itza. Hello, welcome from Chichen Itza. Hurry because we need to get back on the bus before it gets really hot.
So the first thing is getting there. But the key with getting there is you want to get there early.
As early as possible.
Okay, it opens at 8. Earlier means it's cooler, means there's fewer people there, means you're not rushed.
By cooler we mean, this is Mexico, it is hot, and it is in the sun. There is no shade at Chichen Itza, so the sooner in the day you get there, the cooler it is. By noon, it's hot and it's full of tourists.
So we were in Valladolid, which we recommend it highly. Watch our next video. And that made it easy.
It's one of the closest towns to Chichen Itza, and it's a beautiful town to visit as well.
Yeah. It's a wonderful cenote. You'll see it all about later on. That's a plug for next week, by the way. But the simple thing is you can just hop on a bus. The buses leave every half hour or so. So we got up at what time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Got there by 7 to 7:15. Was in Chichen Itza by 8.
So as always, Arabella is making a new friend. So on the bus ride, we get on the bus and the bus is pretty full, but it's making a few stops along the way. And it stops in kind of a little Mayan village, and some people get on, like a grandma and grandpa and a little girl get on the bus, and the bus is full, so they sit up front and the little girl comes on back, and Arabella immediately makes friends with her, and they sit together and play the rest of the ride there without speaking the same language, just being friends. We showed up just as they were opening. We saw the men with the hats coming out.
Men with the hats. Because they're selling, they're always selling. And so they're carrying the hats. And we carry the hats. There's only one good way to carry a bunch of hats. After you get past enough of the hats and other sellers, you just wait in line, you buy the tickets, and you go in. Rates have gone up recently. They're currently 80 pesos for children and about 500 pesos for adults. But with the 20-to-1 exchange rate, that was still about $65 for our whole family to go. If you're not taking a tour, but you still want a guide, they have plenty of people there offering tours.
In English.
In English and Spanish and German and all sorts of Italian.
So we got there early enough that all the little tchotchke tables and shops were still setting up. And there are many of them. Every road is lined with somebody selling you something for $1. Or if you say no to $1, 50 cents. And sometimes 100% off.
They told you, 100% off. Come on over.
And there's tons of them.
And some of these items, like big, ornate, carved items, like $1. There's no way that's not
A
$1.
hand-woven blanket.
I just want you to get in there and talk to them, and they'll talk you out.
So if you're really interested in something, get it. But if not, just keep walking. They're used to people coming through.
Hi, Mom.
So Chichen Itza, we always see the big pyramid, and that's what we think is Chichen Itza. But Chichen Itza is actually an entire city, and the pyramid in the middle is just one element of this entire city.
El Castillo, also known as the temple to Kukulcan, who is a feathered serpent god that they worshipped. And they're in front of this 3,500-foot tall pyramid, and imagine the thousands of people gathered there while the grand priest was up top giving his sermon or sacrificing his people or whatever he was doing.
Rolling heads.
Rolling heads.
They rolled heads down the stairs.
It's just, that's twisted. It was amazing. And you can't get that from a picture. You can only get that by standing in front of there and looking up at those stairs and looking up at the temple and imagining the heads rolling down. And I do recommend it. It was a fantastic experience. You cannot experience the size without being there. You can't get a visceral feel for the huge stones that these people put in place by hand.
Kukulcan is the name of a Maya god. The temple is named after him. The temple has 91 steps on each side with 4 sides and 1 step at the top, giving it a total of 365 steps, 1 for each day of the year. A really cool thing that we did not know about till after we went, which had we known before we went, we would have stalled and gone later, but then we would not have been able to go because all of the sites have now been closed until this virus is over. So we are glad we went when we did. But twice a year on the equinox, a shadow comes directly down the north side.
This isn't like Disney World light show, but the fact that this civilization was able to line up this pyramid so that on the equinox, the sun hit it just right to cause a shadow to look like a snake coming down the stairs, I think it's cool.
Tens of thousands of people gather to witness this. It actually takes all day, so they get there in the early morning and watch as the shadow comes down. A lot of people believe it's a healing ritual. It brings prosperity, various things. They come there to try to soak it all up. One of the things they discovered about Kukulcan is that it has a pyramid inside the pyramid. The Maya would rebuild over top of their old pyramid and create a new one. Inside they found chambers, burial chambers. Everyone that is buried is facing north, so that was important to them. And many different stones and jewelries, including a red jaguar throne, and they discovered that it was painted with cinnabar, which was not available here in Mexico, which explained that they must have been trading with people outside of Mexico.
Supposedly Chichen Itza and the Maya people were very big on trade, and there was a lot of trade.
As you may have noticed, Arabella loves animals, and she seems to find one everywhere she goes, including Chichen Itza. So as we're walking up to the temple in the middle, it's still early and quiet. There's a dog just laying on the grass, so I don't even know if we can call it grass, laying on the ground. And of course she sits down and pets him, and he just lays there. And I actually posted the picture on Instagram, and someone commented that they had been there about 6 months ago, and the same dog had been chilling in the same spot. So maybe it's Kukulcan come back to bless Chichen Itza.
And if you want to see cool pictures like that, you can follow us on Instagram also.
Instagram.com/culturetrotters.
But one of the weirdest, quirkiest things about Chichen Itza is the clapping. The sound echoes back like a bird chirping. It's supposed to sound like the Quetzal bird, which is theoretically important in religious significance to the Maya people. I can't vouch for that. I've never met a Quetzal bird.
When you're there, everyone is visiting us. Any tour group that comes by is clapping at the pyramid.
I don't understand, because we were there for hours, and it was still kind of intriguing. It's not something I've experienced anywhere else. It's a bizarre characteristic of that place. Now, after we saw the temple, and again, we decided to go check out the Cenote, because we had a great experience at Cenote in Valladolid. We're like, yeah, let's go check out the Cenote.
Don't waste your time. You look down and you can kind of see some water through some trees, and that's it. But a cool fact about the Cenote. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you know a cool fact.
Cool fact. This is where they did all their sacrificing, and both human sacrifice and items and livestock, but they painted everything blue. People blue, vases blue, whatever they were going to sacrifice, they painted blue. To the point where when they dredged it up in 1904, there was 14 feet of blue pigment on the bottom of that cenote, which is a lot of sacrificing.
One of our favorite things we've been learning about the Maya culture is the ancient ball game called poke to poke.
For more details, we switched to our correspondent in the field, Arabella.
So back when the Mayans were around, they had this game. It wasn't actually soccer, but it was like soccer. They had a ball, and they lit it on fire. And you can't kick the ball, you can only hit it with your hip. And you have to hit it through a hole, a really tiny hole, and it's up. You have to, with your hip, you have to, one, the ball doesn't have fire. With your hip, you have to punch it up into one of those holes over there. The side who loses gets beheaded. The captain of the side who loses gets beheaded. So, I don't want to be the captain. I would rather be the winning side.
Just to clarify, Arabella has put two games together. There's another game the Mayan also play. It's more like hockey with a flaming ball.
Hurley, if you know what that is.
It's not part of poke to poke. Poke to poke, the ball is not on fire. And hopefully, as things get going here again in Merida, hopefully, we will be able to get out and watch some poke to poke up close and personal, and we'll make sure to share it with you. So because it's Mexico, by 10 o'clock, it's already crazy hot. We're starting to sweat, starting to get cranky. And Robert's shoe breaks. The sole of his shoe comes mostly off. And he's walking.
Not off the back.
On the front, he's walking like he has a flipper on. And he's grumpy. He doesn't want to deal with this. And he's asking the rest of us to be quiet and leave him alone until he can figure this out. But I can't. I was risking the rage of Robert, but I could not help it. I was laughing the entire time. He finally decided to engineer a solution and took the shoelace out of his shoe and tied the sole of his shoe back on.
Great.
And I would also like to point out that this was 2 weeks ago and he has still not bought a new pair of
I glued the sole back. It works fine. Thank you very much. But as the evening went on, we were heading back. I was waddling back. We made a few discoveries. One is the place was filled with jaguars.
Everywhere. You hear jaguars.
Everywhere.
Wow. Let's hear yours. Oh, pretty good. Alado, don't stand anything.
But those are very, very clever. The first few times they're very clever. The 89th time was not quite as clever, but still fun.
But we stopped at every single tchotchke table.
Because Alejandro had to look at every single thing that had a knife edge on it, and everybody had to look at every single jaguar. So we got there at about 8 o'clock, and it wasn't real crowded. By the time we left at 11, the entrance area was full, and more people were coming, and
buses full of
big
tourists.
ones from Cancun and Tulum and all those places. We were glad to be out. It was hot, it was getting crowded. And one of the benefits of going early in the morning is when you get back, it's noon, it's hot, and you can stop and get some great Mexican drinks.
Agua fresca.
And licuado con leche.
And they cost about a third of what they cost at Chichen Itza. So that's another thing. Save your pennies for outside of the park instead of inside the park. It's way more expensive, as always, inside the park. So just to review our helpful tips, if you ever make it to Chichen Itza, go early, take the local bus, not the tour bus, and you will avoid the crowds and the heat.
Okay.
Hope you liked the video. Let's go to bed now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And see me next week.